Fluidity is found in the transitions, so let's work on it together in this Vinyasa flow. If you're using the suggested Spotify playlist, press play now. Start by sitting with the legs in a W position, right leg in front. Sit tall through the spine and take a deep breath. We'll warm up with some movement through the hips. Bring your left hand to the left hip. Inhale. As you exhale, lift the left hip toward the front foot. This initiates a spiral or twist through the spine. Inhale, sit bone comes to the mat, spine follows into the starting position. Exhale, lift the hip and allow the spine to respond into the twist. Inhale, sit bone to the mat, come to neutral. Exhale, hip lifts, spine spirals, and add the arm, reaching it across the chest. Inhale, sit bone to the mat, spine neutral, arm extends to the left. Exhale, hip moves, spine responds, arm follows. Inhale, return to neutral. Exhale, hip, spine, arm. Inhale, return to neutral and switch the legs to the other side. Stay as smooth as you can with this transition. Bring your right hand to the right hip. Inhale. Exhale, lift the right hip toward the front foot, initiating that spiral through the spine. Inhale, sit bone to the mat, spine follows into neutral. Exhale, lift the hip and allow the spine to respond into the twist. Inhale, sit bone to the mat, come to neutral. Exhale, hip lifts, spine spirals, and add the arm, reaching it across the chest. Exhale, sit bone to the mat, spine to neutral, arm extends to the right. Inhale, hip moves, spine responds, arm follows. Inhale, return to neutral. Exhale, hip, spine, arm. Inhale, return to neutral and switch the legs to the other side. This time, only 3 rounds using the arm each time. Do your best to find fluidity in the movement. There is no destination here, no final shape, just continuous energy. Bring your left hand to the hip. Inhale. Exhale, hip moves, spine responds, arm follows. Inhale, return to neutral. Exhale, hip, spine, arm. Inhale, return to neutral. Exhale, hip, spine, arm. Inhale, return to neutral and float the legs to the other side. Bring your right hand to the right hip and inhale. Exhale, hip moves, spine responds, arm follows. Inhale, return to neutral. Exhale, hip, spine, arm. Inhale, return to neutral. Exhale, hip, spine, arm. Inhale, return to neutral and come into plank, feet hip width apart. Using the ankles, inhale, shift your weight forward slightly. Exhale, shift back to the heels. Continue, inhaling to shift forward, exhale and shift back. Connecting movement to breath helps the transitions become smoother. Find stillness and roll into your side plank. Feet stay separate and flexed. Stabilize the spine with your core as you roll back to plank. Change to the other side. Again on each side. You can see I'm using the palm of my hand on my oblique to remind me to keep the spine stable during the transition. And switch to the second side. Return to plank. We're going to go 1 more each side with an opportunity to intensify. Roll to the first side. To intensify, lift the hips higher and sweep the arm over your ear. Arm back up to the ceiling, hips stay lifted, and roll into plank. Second side, same options. Find it first, then lift the hips and sweep the arm. Arm back up, hips stay up, roll into plank. Finally, take a vinyasa. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale to child's pose or downward facing dog. And breathe. Now that we're warmed up, we can get into the standing flow. Find your way back to plank and pedal the legs here. Take 3 sets total, right and left. It's not a mountain climber, even though it looks like it. This is an inversion-free version of walking your dog. Finish up with both legs straight and lift the right leg an inch or two. Step through to find low lunge. Bring your hands to the thigh. Back toe can tuck or not, whichever feels best for your knee. On your next exhale, bring both hands to the inside of the front foot. Flip the hips into Skandasana, side lunge, weight on the right foot. The target area is the inner leg and hamstring and possibly the hips. Walk the hands to the other side, keeping the hips low, and shift to the left foot. We're not staying for long right now, but we will repeat this so you can get deeper into the stretch next time and work on smoothing out the transition. With that said, time to switch to the first side. One last switch to Skandasana. Try to position your right foot to the center of your mat. Transition into Warrior Two. Right foot flattens. Shift through a goddess-esque position, straighten the left knee. Take a moment to find your Warrior Two. If you've never done this transition before, it can feel clumsy the first time. It's okay. You'll have another opportunity to work on it. To avoid the chicken wing effect of the triceps, rotate the upper arm so the elbows point back, then turn your palms down with the lower arm. We'll stay in this static pose for a few more breaths. On your next exhale, move into extended side angle. Elbow to thigh, other arm sweeps by the ear. If your legs and hips are ready, you can of course go deeper if you know how. Bring the top hand to your waist, eyes to the front of the mat. Transition time. Shift into Artachandrasana half moon balance. Extend the arm and fingers first to set your intended landing spot. Tap your weight to the right foot and engage both legs to find the balance. If you feel stable, extend the top arm upward. Breathe. This pose is very much alive even if it appears to be still. One more breath. Now move into eagle pose from here. Soften both legs, engage the core, and slowly roll up through the spine while squaring the hips. Back leg floats forward, then up and over the standing leg. Tap that top toe if balance is wonky. Left arm under the right, either hug or stack and wrap. This is a tricky transition, and if you didn't stick it the first time, no worries, neither did I. You'll have another opportunity to work on this. But for now, transition time. Place the left ball of the foot on the mat. Press into the foot and turn to your right, kind of swiveling around to face the back of your mat. Feet to parallel. Inhale Hasta Tadasana. Exhale Uttanasana. Inhale Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale hands to the mat and walk forward to plank. Lower down, knees chest chin or chaturanga. Inhale Cobra or Up Dog. Exhale Child's Pose or Downward Facing Dog. Find your way to plank and pedal the legs here, walking your dog for 3 sets total. Finish up in plank. Time to side plank. One hand to your obliques, then roll into side plank, balancing on the side edges of both feet. Lift the hips if you want more intensity. Top hand to the ceiling, touch the obliques, settle in plank. Other side. Hand to the waist, roll into side plank, stay here, or intensify. Top hand to the ceiling, touch the obliques, and back to plank. Lift the left leg an inch or two, step through to low lunge. Hands come to the thigh. Back toe however it's comfortable for you. On your next exhale, bring both hands to the inside of the front foot, flip the hips into Skandasana, side lunge, and your weight is on the left foot. Since we've been here already, if it's available, try hinging forward a bit to go deeper into the stretch. Use props if you need to. Walk the hands to the other side, keeping the hips low, and shift to the right foot, hinging forward if you'd like. Switch over to the first side and keep the hips low. One last switch. Don't mind Zeus, he's just here for a cameo. Transition into Warrior 2. Left foot flattens, shift through goddess-esque position to that foot. Straighten the right knee. Take a moment to find Warrior 2. Check your hip alignment, keep the front ribs pulling together, and then extend the arms. We'll stay in this static pose for a few more breaths. On your next exhale, move into extended side angle. Elbow to thigh, other arm sweeps by the ear. And of course, you can always go deeper if you're ready and know how. Zeus is back. Wait, what? Oh no, he didn't. He totally upstaged me. He is cute though, so who can hate on that? All right, back to business. Shift into Artachandrasana half moon. Extend the bottom arm and fingers first to set your focal point. Tap your weight into the left foot and engage both legs to find the balance. If you feel stable, extend the top arm upward. Breathe. One more breath. Transition into Eagle Pose. Soften both legs, engage the core as slowly roll up through the spine while squaring the hips. Back leg floats forward, up and over the standing leg. Tap the toe if the balance is wonky. Left arm under the right, either hug or stack and wrap. Breathe here and enjoy your Eagle Pose. Place the right ball of the foot on the mat and turn to your left, swiveling around to face the top of your mat. Inhale Hanumanasana. Exhale Uttanasana. Inhale Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale hands to the mat, walk forward to plank, and take your Vinyasa. Settle into Child's Pose or Downward Facing Dog. Let's really smooth our transitions now that you know this flow. Find your way to plank, pedal the legs here, walking your dog for 3 sets total. Finish up in plank, and it's time to side plank. One hand to your obliques, then roll into side plank, balancing on the side edges of the feet. Lift the hips if you want more intensity and sweep the arm. Top hand to the ceiling, touch the obliques, and settle back into plank. Other side. Hand to the waist, roll into side plank, stay here or intensify. Touch the obliques, back to plank. Lift the right leg and step through to low lunge, hands to the thigh. This time, inhale, sweep the arms up by your ears. On your exhale, bring both hands to the inside of the front foot. Flip the hips into Skandasana, side lunge. Weight on the right foot. Walk the hands to the other side, keeping the hips low, and shift to the left foot. Now switch to the first side. One last switch. Here comes a transition right into Warrior Two. Right foot flattens, shift through a goddess-esque position, and take a moment to find Warrior Two. Hopefully this transition feels more familiar and a bit more graceful than the first time through. Let's stay here for a few more breaths. On your next exhale, move into extended side angle. Move into whatever depth of this pose you're good with. Time to transition to Artachandrasana half moon balance. Tap your weight or glide to the right foot and engage both legs to find the balance. If you feel stable, extend the top arm upward and breathe. Take one more breath. I'll transition into eagle pose from here. Slowly roll up through the spine while squaring the hips. Back leg floats forward and crosses over the standing leg. Left arm under the right. Place the left ball of the foot on the mat and turn to your right. Face the back of your mat. Feet parallel. Inhale, Hasta-Tadasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, hands to the mat and walk forward to plank. And move through your Vinyasa. Rest in child's pose or downward facing dog. Let's get the second side going. Find your way to plank. Walk your dog for 3 sets total. Do your best to coordinate your breath with your movement. Finish up in plank, and it's time to side plank. One hand to your obliques, roll into side plank. Lift the hips if you want. Touch the obliques, settle back into plank. Other side. Hand to the waist, roll into side plank, stay here or intensify. Touch the obliques and come back into plank. Lift the left leg an inch or two and step through to low lunge. Hands come to the thigh. Inhale, sweep the arms up by the ears. On your exhale, bring both hands to the inside of the front foot. Flip the hips into Skandasana side lunge. Weight is still in the left foot. Walk the hands to the other side, keeping the hips low, shifting over to the right. Hinge forward if you'd like. Now switch over to the first side, keeping the hips low if you can. And one last switch. From here, take your transition into Warrior Two. Left foot flattens, shift through the goddess-esque position to that foot, and find your Warrior Two. On your next exhale, move into extended side angle, whatever variation you're comfortable with on this side. Transition into Artachandrasana half moon. Tap your weight or glide into the left foot. Engage both legs to find the balance. Top arm can extend, and breathe. One more breath. And we transition into Eagle Pose. Soften both legs, slowly roll up through the spine. Back leg floats over the standing leg. Left arm under the right, either hug or stack and wrap. Breathe. Place the right ball of the foot on the mat and turn to your left. Face the top of your mat, feet parallel. Inhale, Hastha. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, hands to the mat, walk forward to plank, and take your Vinyasa. Settle into Child's Pose or Downward Facing Dog. Let's get into some leg and hip stretches. Be mindful of how you're moving in and out of the poses. Sometimes with seated poses, transitions are forgotten or become less important, but they are just as important as the standing pose transitions. With that in mind, come up to stand on your knees. Hanumanasana, half monkey pose. Extend the right leg in front of your hip and flex the foot. Inhale, lengthen through the waist. Exhale, hinge forward. Hands can rest on blocks if you have them, or on the mat. Nice steady breath here. Bring your weight into your left hand. Right hand settles into the hip crease and gently presses down and back. There's also a nice gentle twist created in the spine here. Keep the chest open to the side. Release the hand back to the mat, square off the shoulders. Take a few more breaths into the hamstring stretch. Right hand to the inside of the leg. Sweep the right leg back to tabletop for a few rounds of cow and cat. Inhale, lift the head and tail for cow. Exhale, belly lifts, head and tail lower for cat. Inhale, head and tail lift. Exhale, curl the spine for cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat, and on the same exhale, shift onto your knees, hands to the waist. Hanumanasana, half monkey pose on the other side. Extend the left leg forward in front of the hip, flex the foot. Inhale, lengthen the waist. Exhale, hinge forward, hands to blocks or the mat. Breathe as your hamstring, low back, and glutes get a nice stretch. Bring your weight into your right hand. Left hand settles into the hip crease and gently press down and back. Turn the ribs so the spine twists. Release the hands back to the mat, square off the shoulders, and take a few more breaths into the stretch. Left hand to the inside of the leg, sweep the left leg back for tabletop for a few rounds of cow and cat. Inhale, lift the head and tail. Exhale, belly lifts, head and tail lower for cat. Inhale, head and tail lift. Exhale, curl the spine for cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Gracefully find your way into double pigeon. Stack the shin bones right over left. Modify by straightening the bottom leg or sitting on props to lift the hips. Move your right hand into the hip crease. Gently press down as you side bend away from that hip. Inhale to vertical. Transition into half lord of the fish. Use the left arm to hug the top leg and twist toward it. Inhale the head to the front. Release the pose and organize the legs in double pigeon on the other side, left over right. Again, modify as you need here. Sit up nice and tall. Take a beautiful deep breath. Move your left hand into the hip crease. Gently press down as you side bend away from the hip. Inhale to vertical. Transition into half Lord of the Fish. Use the right arm to hug the top leg and twist toward it. Inhale the head to the front. Use both hands to move the top leg to a parallel position so we can windshield wiper the legs. One more time each side. Bring the legs to neutral and roll down to lie on the mat, setting up for bridge. Feet parallel, arms down by your sides, palms down. If you are inversion free, look for the variation at the top of the screen. You can do what's coming up with a few props. Inhale here. Exhale, lift the hips, squeezing the glutes. Inhale, lower without touching the mat. Exhale, lift and squeeze. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift and squeeze. The squeeze is important at the top of your lift for maximum strength building of the glutes. Keep going, 5 reps total. After your 5th one, lower the hips all the way to the mat and rest for a minute. Walk the feet away from your hips about an inch, not much, but enough that the heels take more weight than the rest of the foot. This is to engage the hamstrings more. Inhale here, exhale, lift the hips. Inhale, lower without touching the mat. Exhale, lift and squeeze. You can even flex the feet here, balancing on the heels. Another 4 reps for 5 total. When finished, hips down to the mat, hug the legs to your chest and rock from side to side. So if you're inversion free, go ahead and set up your props, stack the blocks, 1 or 2 depending on how much height you need. Take your bolster and stack it diagonally on the blocks. Move the back of the pelvis to the edge of your bolster and lay back. Transition into reclined cow face legs. Cross the right thigh over the left, reach down and hold on to the closest shin, ankle, or foot, whatever you can reach. Target area is the outer hips and IT band. If your hips or head are floating, bring a towel or props underneath so they're supported. Release the hands and move into reclined twist, legs lower to the left. You can prop under the legs. You can uncross the legs and stack them instead. You can even prop between the knees. If the neck is good with it, rotate it to the right for a full spinal twist. One more breath. Gracefully bring yourself out of the twist. Reclined cow face legs on the other side. Left leg crosses over the right. Hands reach for the legs. Relax into the stretch and breathe. Release the hands and move into Reclined Twist, legs lower to the right, and prop where you need. Gently release the twist and move into Happy Baby, holding on where you can on your legs, ankles, or feet. Be mindful to keep your hips and head on the mat or support them if they're floating. Move into Floating Bound Angle Pose. Bottoms of the feet together, heels drop toward your sit bones, arms and legs hang off of one another. Lower the legs for Reclined Bound Angle Pose. Rest your hands on your hips or out to the side. Finally, extend the legs for Shavasana. If you're using the suggested Spotify playlist and it's within reach, I recommend turning it off now if it hasn't stopped already. Let the legs fall to their natural rotation, arms by your sides, palms up, no higher than the shoulders. If it's chilly where you are, bring a blanket over you to stay warm. Let the eyes close and take rest. start to deepen your breath. Find energy in your fingers, toes, wrists, ankles, hands, and feet. Extend the arms overhead by your ears for a big full body stretch. Hug the knees into your chest and gently rock from side to side. Roll onto your right side, resting in fetal position, right arm under your head as a pillow. Gently press yourself up into a seated position, eyes remain closed. Hands can either press together at your heart center or one hand on your heart and one on your belly. Take a few moments here to check in with how you feel after this practice. I hope you found some fluidity in today's transitions. How do you feel physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, and spiritually? Take a moment for some gratitude. What are you grateful for in this moment and why? Thank you so much for practicing with me. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste. Have more time? Check out one of these beautiful practices over here, and there's more suggestions in the description below. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.